Hi everybody, Roger here. Actually, this is one of my first video. Actually, this is my first video I'm going to be doing while I'm driving to work. I'm also going to be doing them when I go to lunch, either before the gym or before lunch. I think this is probably going to help me keep in line with what I've been wanting to do for a long time, and that's consistently make videos to publish on a more frequent basis than the sporadic nature I've been doing it lately. You know, I've made a handful of videos, maybe about less than a dozen, and finding the time to do that with how busy I am has been very difficult. So here goes. I guess what I have two subjects that I want to talk about, and I'll probably do that within each video. So there may be a total of 4 subjects that I go over today, and they're more or less today going to be, you know, quips, you know, stances that I have regarding issues. So the first one is regarding the sexual allegations. The sexual misconduct of a lot of Hollywood A-listers, B-listers, and even the C-list actors, the nobodies. There've been quite a bit, you know, and recently we've had, you know, George Takei. I don't even know if I'm pronouncing that right, but whatever. You know, he as a gay man, you know, he's come out openly and talked about Donald Trump's supposed adulterous and you know, views on women and how he acts towards women. And you know, and I'm gonna have to side with I'm gonna have to be neutral on this one, because at this moment they're both neutral scenarios. They're both accusations. You know, Trump, I think, has already been proven that those women were there just to cause a ruckus. They were never really victims. You know, cases have been dropped, etc. So, you know, I'm not sure if that's because it would probably have costed them a lot of money to continue with an investigation, or they were all false allegations at this point. I'm going with the latter. In regards to George Takei, though, you know, to roofie someone or again, accusedly roofie someone and attempt to take advantage of them. Look, I'm a gay man. I've been in that scenario before where I was the one taken advantage of. I have been roofied a long time ago. You know, full disclosure. I have been roofied a long time ago, and I think twice in my life, actually. Once when I was about 19 years old, living in Spokane. I hung out with the wrong crowd, and I'm pretty sure there's some crazy pictures out there. It was a crazy, stupid night, but it was uncontrollable by me because of the fact that I was drugged and I was beyond self-comprehension and self-awareness. And I remember staying up for about 2 days after that. It was very hard to go back to sleep. It was the oddest thing. So I can see it from that respect, you know, and then having to come out a little bit later and then tell people, you know, like I'm saying, this is probably the first time I've ever vocalized it, but, you know, telling people about the scenario, it's embarrassing, but then you learn to realize it's not your fault. So there are a very small handful of people who know about this, but now obviously it's going to go public. You know, and then the second time it happened, I think it was when I met my current boyfriend. This was about maybe 13 years ago that I think this one happened. I don't normally get mentally deranged or forget things and get very, very sick just by drinking red wine. I think somebody put something in it with the intent of something bad to happen. Again, those are 2 instances that I can think of. They were both very off the wall, and I don't normally act like that when I'm, you know, having a couple of drinks here and there. So anyways, going back to the George Takei thing, Takei, whatever, they are accusations, just like Trump's were accusations. I'm taking it with, you know, a loose grain of salt. You know, Takei has come out and vocally said that nothing like that ever happened. So, you know, time will tell, you know, and there is no statute of limitations I forget what state he was in, but I've read there's no statute of limitations for investigation under something like that. So this could be something that could be looming over his head for the rest of his life. Who knows? Until things get proven. You know, then we also have, you know, I'm just going to go down the list here. I'm not going to go over every single one, but we have Ben Affleck, we have Harvey Weinstein, we have Jeremy Piven recently, you know, we have Kevin Spacey, We have Louis C.K. We have Jeff Hoover, who, if you don't know, is the Kentucky Speaker of the House. He also was actually recently hospitalized as well. I'm pretty sure it's unrelated to the accusations against him, but who knows? Brett Ratner. We have Andy Dick. That one's probably pretty obvious. It just, one thing that all of these people have in common, minus the Kentucky speaker, they're all left-leaning. I don't know what it is about the left and coddling and taking care of all of their adulterous perverts. You have Anthony Weiner. You have Bill Clinton. You have Harvey Weinstein. You have all these people in the left, and every. You always see them being coddled over by the people on their side. And if anything, if the public were to have anything to say about their scenarios, and an allegation comes out, Hollywood and the left voters and the public are all too forgiving to them. The minute you have somebody like, who is this guy, Moore? I have not read much into this. The cowboy guy running right now. You have somebody like Moore, and everybody's all over him. It's the double standard is ridiculous in this, and it's blown out of proportion. So, treat fair as fair. A sexual predator is a sexual predator, regardless of affiliation of party or political lines, or beliefs or whatever. Even backgrounds. There's a couple of backgrounds that here now in the States that believe in having children, at a young age be available to them. I'm not going to say the the name of that that group, but yeah, it's prevalent, and it's just really crazy. So anyways, I'd really, my whole thing behind these sexual allegations is, I hope people just come to realize that there's such thing as allegations and innocence before guilt, even though our world right now is teaching everybody otherwise. And then also to know that that you have to be prepared for news like this. Don't just go off the cusp and start, reporting, oh, this guy's a pervert, this guy did this guy did that, accusation, one after the other. It doesn't make any sense. When you start, you lose credibility when you know that you're trying to just itch for the story and you put something out first. It makes absolutely no sense. You lose credibility. I've called out people on that, and that's the, and many other people who are better at me and at doing that will call them out as well. So it does you no favors. I don't know how these guys, are still able to, these news outlets, these individuals are still able to keep up with their platforms, because they get proven wrong so many times. But I think what it is just the ignorant will follow the misleading information. The blind will follow regardless, because of how they get taken care of and how they're coddled. It's a sad scenario. Anyways, that's my first subject. The second subject I had was regarding the Mall of America. I'm not going to call it a terror attack. It was definitely not a terror attack. It was more or less a scuffle. But it was by a Mahad Abdirahaman. Anyways, sorry, I had to beat the guy in front of me, and we have this green light that doesn't stay green for like 3 seconds. Anyways, this guy, he was apparently robbing the store and a Macy's in the Mall of America. And I guess he was in the dressing room attempting to steal some other person's clothing, and there was a scuffle and 2 people got stabbed. So 2 people are hospitalized right now. And then there's this video circulating around of all the people in the mall, and you can see the transformation of demographics there, like within from 10 years ago to now. And again, nothing against any sort of religious affiliations, party affiliations, or anything like that, but the demographic is totally different these days on a lot of things, and it's vast. It seems like it's being forced. It seems like it's being hurried for some reason, but in an environment like that, you're bound to see stuff like that happen. I've seen a recent video, and I think the guy is dead now. I'm almost certain, where this guy was walking around with a video camera at an event, and these security guards were just all over his ass. Something about passing out flyers, I can't remember, but I think that guy who made that video camera, or who made that footage, is dead now. A young kid, like 25 years old or something. And I hope he's not. I hope I'm wrong in that. But that guy was basically pulling out the hypocrisy of all these people. He's there at the event, trying to be trying to show people, the biasness and the way that some of these people do not even appreciate American law. And he was uncovering that, and these security guards were just all over his ass, and eventually booted him out. I think there were some police at the end. Anyways, that's what this kind of reminds me of. They're both perfect examples of what's happening over in Minnesota right now. You'll never hear gun control advocates calling for knife control. You'll never hear them call for truck control. You'll never hear them call for any sort of control. And you'll also hear somebody, I forget what the guy's name is, but it was maybe about 5 or 4 days ago, where Brian Williams had 4 guests on, and one of the guests, he looks like Ross Matthews from Chelsea lately. I'll put the name on when I'm done with this video, or when I upload it. But this guy basically says that Trump is doing everything wrong. He's calling he's calling terrorists animals. Like it's such a bad thing. Wow, can you even believe somebody would even say that calling terrorists animals is a bad thing? I don't believe it at all. So, these are the kind of I don't know what you would call them, people who are apologists. These are the kind of apologists we're dealing with these days, they're the ones that are hurting our youth. They're the ones that are hurting the public, American values and ideals, and they're making people go crazy mentally, including all of our left-wing professors, all of these people who are spewing out these crazy ideals just to get people so mixed up and riled up. It's any wonder why any of us could still even think straight these days. And I'm sorry, it's my first video. I don't feel like I'm thinking straight right now. I'm doing the best that I can. I apologize if I'm rambling. But anyways, there's all these apologists for organizations and lifestyles that are not blending in with American values, that people are saying that have to be accepted. And no, when you don't assimilate, I don't care what your background is, you could be from any part of the world, and if you do not want to assimilate, that America is not for you. And it takes there's a lot of people I know that have assimilated after 10, 15 years of getting residency here, and they love it. They know the values of it. I think the biggest people who are actually, I don't know. I guess where I'm going with all this is time will tell, regarding this Mahad character at the Mall of America and stabbing 2 individuals, what his background will be. I've already uncovered, his Facebook page. He was a live streamer for a minute. I think that, time will tell what kind of a person he's going to be, and how the news will portray him. So until that time comes, I will sign off now. I'm going to be heading to work. All right, I hope you guys enjoyed this little video. I'm going to try to do these a little bit more frequently, and we'll call it a day. Have a good one.